be up to over $250,000. If you had 20, up to just over $500,000, so on. And there's two different ways to qualify. And what is a crying shame, a lot of people think you have to have both. And a lot of people were told, even by their CPAs, that if your gross revenue wasn't down by a certain amount, you didn't qualify. Not true. There's a different independent way to qualify. It's either or. Bottom line is, you can just contact us. We'll tell you if you qualify. And if you do, let's get your free money from the federal government. It's a grant. That means you don't pay it back. It's not a loan. It's just yours to do with as you please. 888-TAX-DEAL. That's 888-TAX-DEAL. 888-TAX-DEAL. Or MoskowitzLLP.com. MoskowitzLLP.com.
Let's head back over to your local Honda dealer's traffic center. Take a look at the roads with Kim Wonderly. All right, things are loosening up on westbound Interstate 80. This in the wake of a crash that had all lanes blocked, Solano County down by Dixon Avenue. Right now, the really slow part is from Kidwell down to Pedrick. After that, just a little bit of sluggish traffic as you make your way toward Dixon. In the meantime, we're looking a little better now. Bay Bridge Toll Plaza backs up at West Grand. Getting there on westbound Interstate 80, we had a couple of crashes near Cutting Boulevard. You might see a little bit of sluggish traffic at the scene, but no lanes are blocked any longer, so we're looking fine there. Southbound Nimitz Freeway fills in 238 in pockets most of the way into Union City. We're seeing that commute really form. Your next update, 7:38 on the traffic leader, KCBS. Expect partly to mostly cloudy skies throughout the afternoon today, highs getting into the 60s. Things change after the trick-or-treating is all done. Beginning tomorrow morning, we will get wet. Rain arriving tomorrow morning, lasting throughout the day and into Wednesday. Highs tomorrow and Wednesday also in the 60s. We've got traffic and weather together on the 8s on All News 106.9 and AM 740 KCBS.
Repeat after me. I, Kevin, take you, Susan.
I, Kevin, take you, Susan. It's Jamie from Progressive. Jamie. No, it's all right. I can talk. Progressive protects you 24/7, which means you can contact us anytime. I'm getting a loud sound, so I'm going to talk louder. What can I help you with today? Oh, yeah, Progressive can do that. Ugh, there's that noise again. Hold on. Let me put you on speaker.
Contact us 24/7 on the phone, online, or on the mobile app. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, covered subject to policy terms.
Make the hiring process work for you with Indeed's end-to-end hiring solution. You can attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
News that matters to you around the Bay, around the world, around the clock. All News 106.9 and AM 740 KCBS.
It is Monday, October 31st, 2022. Coming up on KCBS.
I'm Jennifer Hodges with more on the agreement that'll keep doctors working in the South Bay.
And the Supreme Court hears a challenge to the use of affirmative action in college admissions. Good morning, I'm Melissa Call-Ross. It is 7:31.
CBS News Special Report. The most racially and gender-diverse Supreme Court in history is hearing arguments right now on race-conscious admissions at Harvard and the University of North Carolina. Patrick Strawbridge represents Students for Fair Admissions, the group suing to end the policy.
Just considering race and race alone is not consistent with the Constitution.
Justice Clarence Thomas, who's black, asked,
if you don't include that, then what do you include on the application?
Well, you include their experiences, you include where they grew up, you might include their socioeconomic status.
Justice Sonia Sotomayor, a Latina, says she believes race can be relevant.
If you're black, you're more likely to be in an under-resourced school. You're more likely to be taught by teachers who are not as qualified as others.
CBS News Special Report. I'm Deborah Rodriguez.
KCBS News Time, 7:32. For more on these cases that could overturn affirmative action, we are joined on the KCBS Ring Central Newsline by Kim Ford Mazrui, law professor and director of the Center for the Study of Race and Law at the University of Virginia. Thank you so much for talking to us this morning. This is not the first time the highest court has heard arguments about affirmative action in college admissions, and the court has upheld the use of race in college admissions before. What are the arguments here?
Oh, thank you for having me. There's two main arguments. One is that the Harvard University and the University of North Carolina are using race in a way that's inconsistent with the precedents that you referred to. So the court upheld affirmative action at the University of Michigan and the University of Texas, but under a test that requires it to be used only as one of many factors in what the court calls a holistic review of the applicant. And the students for fair admissions, who are the plaintiffs in these cases, their first argument is that UNC and Harvard are not following that precedent, that they're using race in too heavy of a manner. Their alternative argument, and I think really their main argument, is that the Supreme Court should even overturn the prior precedents and forbid race from being used at all.
Now, assuming that the plaintiffs end up being successful, let's just assume that for a moment, what actually will happen? Schools like Harvard, for example, and I would argue UNC too, have so many applicants that they can probably merely shift things a little bit and still end up with the same kind of student body, even if they don't explicitly consider race. Like they might, I mean, already the SAT is falling out of favor with a lot of schools, so they might depend less on test scores. They might look at things like community and socioeconomic status, but that might clearly indicate the race of an applicant. So what really could the shakeout or the impact of these things be?
Well, you're right that they can consider race-neutral factors often that correlate with race, but experience with schools in states that have banned affirmative action already indicates that these other factors don't create as much racial diversity as when you can consider race explicitly. So you can create, economic diversity and other sorts of diversity, but to the extent racial diversity is a university's goal, it really does make it more difficult if race can't be a factor that you directly consider.
So do we think that the plaintiffs in this case, which are Asian Americans, and we should also note that the Students for Fair Admission, it's led by an activist who's tried this before. He was involved in the University of Texas case. But do we think that Asian Americans really will be served by a ruling assuming that it is in favor of the plaintiffs?
Possibly. Okay, so yeah, if the court rules in favor of the plaintiffs, the main people who will be harmed would be Black and Latino applicants. So that presumably will mean that there will be a greater number of seats for white and Asian applicants. So it's not a lot of numbers here that would be affected, but it could increase the number of Asians and whites who are admitted. I would also want to add that while I favor affirmative action, I think Asians are lumped together in a way that's, I think, unnecessary and inaccurate because, Asia is the largest, most populated continent on Earth. More than half of human beings are Asian, and yet they tend to be treated as one group, whereas there's an incredible amount of diversity, economic, religious, cultural, within Asia. So I think it would behoove universities, if they're really seeking diversity, to at least pay attention to what the Asian background is of particular applicants, because I suspect that there's many less advantaged Asian backgrounds that are perhaps not being admitted in representative numbers because people from more affluent Asian backgrounds are being admitted and they're just treated all as the same.
All right, well, we thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us and offering your expertise. That's Kim Ford Mazarui, law professor and director of the Center for the Study of Race and Law at the University of Virginia. KCBS News Time 7:37. We are just 90 seconds away from your next traffic update.
Throughout the 60s and 70s, cops hunted down key figures of the Dixie Mafia, including its enigmatic ringleader, Kirksey Nix.
I'm interested in making money. I'm not interested in hurting people.
15 years into Kirksey's life sentence, the Dixie Mafia was practically folklore, but that would soon change. I'm Jed Lipinski. This is Gone South, a documentary podcast from C13 Originals, a Cadence 13 studio. Season 2, The Dixie Mafia. Available now on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Liam Maitland, KCBS Free Chat at Capita Sausalito. Why is it so crazy? The local way of doing things.